yes. Happy Snowy Tuesday. There are two words that should scare the crap out of us, and it's not Stelter nudes. Nope, it's President Harris. During an interview with the Wall Street Journal, the Veep said she's ready to step in as commander-in-chief. Quote, I am ready to serve. There's no question about that. Serve what, you ask? If it's anything more than a tennis ball, trust me, she'd be over her head. Of course, she means she's ready should something happen to the current president. Now, she also claims that everyone who sees her on the job, quote, walks away fully aware of my capacity to lead. No, they don't walk away. They run. In the first 2 years, more than 13 high-profile aides have left the VP's office, and that's through an open window. Now, it's worth pointing out that Kamala gave that answer before the Her report. It's one thing she actually saw coming besides Willie Brown. No, he was always sneaking up on her. People are minds in the gutter. So she was worried about Joe's fitness for office even before last week's disaster. But she feels like she needs to reassure us, as if the thought of Kamala in charge is reassuring. Her Venn diagram hits that sweet spot between useless, clueless, and brainless. When Joe appointed her border czar, she got nervous because she never saw a C and a Z next to each other like that. But remember, for the longest time, we weren't supposed to criticize her for the same reason Biden picked her as VP. She checked more boxes than a grave robber. So call her out on her incompetence. You're racist and sexist. But now the Dems and the media are jumping ship. So now they're just as racist and sexist as the rest of us. Boo-hoo. According to the latest Real Clear Politics average, Kamala has a net favorable rating of minus 19.2%. And her unfavorable rating is 54.7, placing her somewhere between an IRS audit and chlamydia.
Jesus.
That's compared to Joe's net favorable rating of minus 15.3, which is also his body temperature. So people like her less than Biden. And yet I can think of a few people who do want her to be president. And they all work on this show. Just imagine how easy and fun it would be to have President Kamala Harris. We can just play tape of her talking and we don't have to do anything. And that laugh, we wouldn't even need a studio audience.
What do you want to know?
Well, I want to give you the opportunity.
I thought we were supposed to conserve things. I couldn't reconcile it. Now I can.
You just fell out of a coconut tree?
Every time I see that, I'm waiting for two guys in white lab coats to throw a giant butterfly net over her and lead her back into the van. But the fact is, I know what's good for the show, but it can also be bad for the country. So I got to put the country before my ratings. That's why we stopped booking Taylor Swift. Now, you'd think the White House would do whatever they could to counter this argument, but on Monday, they confirmed Biden won't take a cognitive test as part of his upcoming physical exam, while repeating the same jargon about how he's super on top of things.
Does the White House think that the idea of the president taking a cognition test, a cognitive test, as a part of this physical is a legitimate idea?
The president proves every day how he operates, how he thinks. He is sharp. He is on top of things. When we have meetings with him, with his staff, he's constantly pushing us, trying to get more information.
Well, he is sharp and on top of things, but so is a guillotine. So the White House and Biden allies keep telling us he's fit, smart, articulate. Instead, all we get is things like this, where the leader of the free world doesn't know where to stand.
Oh, it gets better.
Mr. President, thank you.
That guy speaking was the king of Jordan, but to Joe, it might as well have been this king. Now, if you're Biden's staff, you'd think they'd just put some tape on the ground so he knows where to go. We do that for Steve Doocy every morning. But it's like Biden's staff doesn't even care anymore. Otherwise, how do you explain this? a new 9-minute video on Biden's YouTube channel where he's eating fried chicken and talking about basketball with a black family.
Oh, boy.
Well, at least he didn't bring a watermelon. But at this point, they're just letting him go. Those in control must already have a post-Joe plan, or they wouldn't let their guy do stuff like that. You see Joe eating fried chicken and talking basketball with blacks, and you think, that looks racist. The Dems see it and think, no, it's his last meal. It's what he wanted. Now, the liberal Politico just explained the specifics of the Democrats' Plan B for Joe Biden. There's all sorts of boring procedural stuff. But the short version is, if it does happen, Biden will need to fully cooperate. He needs to be on board. It can't happen without him, unless he gets incapacitated. But how could that ever happen, right? I mean, he might fall or get pushed. He might die in his sleep with the help of a pillow. But think about this. If the Dems hadn't changed the rules in 2020 or ran on a race-hoaxing, demonizing platform or suppressed that laptop, Trump would have won. Then there never would have been a Biden presidency, no Kamala, no war in Ukraine, perhaps a calmer Middle East. And imagine the better place that the Dems would be in now. They'd have Democrat candidates that aren't frail or idiotic. They'd be able to run on 8 years of Trump and could blame everything on him, real or mostly imagined. But instead, they took the low road to victory. They demonized millions. They ran on hoaxes and changed laws. So now they're here. A choice between a brain-dead crook and a cackling chuckle bucket. Like I always say, karma is a Liz Cheney. Let's welcome